welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This week we are scraplifting a gorgeous layout that was found from the Paper Issues design team, and I will post that layout up here. I will have the Paper Issues Instagram account listed below, as well as the creator's Instagram listed below, so that you can go check both of those out. I am going to be using a digital kit that I printed. Turns out I'm a hybrid scrapper now, so sometimes when the mood strikes me, I will get a new digital kit. And this one is by Katie Petite. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name correctly. If I am not, I apologize, Katie. But I've got these three papers, and I've got some of the embellishments. Now, I had a little bit of trouble with my Cameo. I think my mat was old, and so it didn't finish printing this because this got stuck. And so the rest of these I'll have to hand cut out, but I did get some of these other things printed, and this one was, I think, a little too fiddly for it, so I'll have to very carefully pull some of the white pieces out, but it's really cute. The whole collection is cute. This is her Winnie the Pooh collection. It was on sale when I bought it. I think it was a one-day sale, but I'll have her website and this kit linked down below. I printed one of the flowers out just for fun, but I pulled in some of these Petaloo flowers, and then I don't know what brand these are, but I pulled all of those in, and then I have some embellishments from some assemblage required, and I have a quote here, and it says, this is the one I'm going to use: sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart, Winnie the Pooh. And then I pulled in some Tigger too, because I'm going to be scrapbooking kitten photos. And this is my little man kitty Jasper, who is now not little anymore. He is 8, will be 9 in April. So but these are taken, I think, in June of that year of 2016. So I'm gonna pause. We're gonna get started with this layout. I can't wait to work with this. I will be right back. So this is a technique that I have used in the past, but it's been a little while since I've used it. And what you do is you take your bottle of glossy accents and you fill in the circle and you let it dry. And so I'm going to do that with all 6 of these. I did print 2 sets of these because I wanted to have extras in case I messed them up. I didn't, so I have 3 more of these fake flares to use. Now you might notice as well that some of my glossy accents dripped off the side. Once it is dry, you can just trim that off really easily. My only disappointment is the one that says this isn't very clear when it dried. I don't know if it's the color or what it is, but both of them were not super clear when they dried. I don't know if maybe I didn't give them enough time to dry before I used them or what. I guess I can look back at a couple of days to see if they're better, but the other 2 did perfectly. And I think this is just a fun way to make your own flare. Like if you have a 1-inch circle punch and some beautiful paper, you can just punch it out and use your glossy accents in a way to make your little flat-backed flare. That's just a fun technique that I learned a very, very long time ago. So this layout that we are scraplifting today has 2 mats on it. And so I am going to go ahead and gut the plaid. I also got the blue paper. I did print the blue paper. Normally I do not print solids from digital collections because I have cardstock. I can use cardstock, but I really loved this particular shade of blue, and I loved the design of it in the middle. And regular cardstock just would not have the same effect. And so first things first, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my trimmer. Apparently the blade had slipped off a little bit, and that was all that was about. So you can see I had a couple little white pieces sticking on, and that's just because my blade had slipped out somehow and I had to pop it back in there. But I took off the 1/2 inch off 2 sides that I need, and then I'm gonna gut it just the same way as I did the plaid. That way I have the middle of both papers to work with another time. The other piece that I used really reminds me of Katie's 49 Market collections, and I absolutely wanted to use that one as the full background. So you're going to be able to see most of this. I do have to cut off a little bit, and I cut off a little bit off each side. And the strip that's off to the left right now, I do actually end up using. I cut off 1 inch from the top and then 1/2 inch from each side. And I think I discovered, nope, I got it right. I thought maybe I discovered that it wasn't small enough, but it's perfect. So I'm just going to use my wet glue here, and I'm going to glue down the edges a little bit with the wet glue. I'm going to go ahead and grab that plaid piece. It's more like a frame at this point, and I'm going to use the wet glue again to glue that down. Now I'm going to bring in a glue that you don't get to see me use very often on camera these days. I adore this glue, and it's a great glue for creating mixed media art and canvases and stuff. It's not for the impatient. It is not tacky right away. This glue is called Perfect Paper Adhesive. You can get it on Amazon. It is pricey, but I do want you to note that it is a large bottle and it lasts forever. I've had this bottle for a very long time. It helps that I also put one of the fine tip caps that I get from scrapperfect.com on the top of it, and that allows me to not waste a lot of glue because the lid that comes with it, the glue comes out really fast. But again, this glue is not for the faint of heart because it does not get tacky immediately like quick dry or the Barely Art glue. I went ahead and I glued the frames it's the same frame, I just made them the right size for each photo. I know that the original creators' photos are the same size. Mine are not gonna be because I didn't want to have to trim down this other photo, and I wanted to use these 2 photos on this layout. It does work out just fine. I'm going to go ahead and place them on the background like that, and now I'm just going to begin to play with the embellishments that I have out. I have moved the flowers off to the side for now because I just want to play with the digital embellishments for a little bit. I started with the row of Piglet Pooh and Kanga and Eeyore along the bottom, but I ended up moving that up towards the top because the original creators layout had a branch with some cute little owls on it, and so I wanted to pull that up at the top. But for right now, it's just resting there as I decide what is going to end up on here. I adore this quote here. It is just so cute. When I saw these pieces that MK put in her shop, it's been at least a year ago, I think, I had to have them, and I bought several of the different characters. I pulled out Tigger because there's no Tigger in the digital collection, or at least nothing that I printed out, and I wanted to make sure that we got Tigger on here because, of course, I'm scrapbooking pictures of my little kitty. Okay, I've kind of set up to the left-hand side some of the flowers that I know that I wanted to play with. I've made sure that my handmade flare is dry. You can kind of see that it's really glossy over there. Now, notice that it is also bent up in places. If you're really careful with it, you can flatten it without cracking it, or you can just use it as is if it doesn't bother you. So I noticed in the original layout that there was a couple of strips of paper along that left-hand side. Hers really stands out a lot more than mine is going to. Mostly it just adds another little layer of of texture to look at here. It's not going to be up in your face or anything, and a lot of the flowers that I put on here are going to cover up anything below the top left corner of that larger photo. I am kind of lifting up that frame a little bit so that I can get the pattern paper underneath it. I had used wet glue to glue those down, so it was kind of dry, and so I just had to kind of lift it a little bit. I decided to make a little shelf for the parade of animals up at the top. It's mimicking the branch and the owls that were in the other layout. Really, it just kind of grounds the little parade of animals. I have that frame there, and it has that little quote with the binder clip on it that says, "In my heart forever." I've got the flare that says sweet. I've added a burlap flower and a cute little peach colored butterfly. There were 2 butterflies in the flowers, and I use both of them. Seems like I'm reaching for and grabbing a lot of butterflies right now. Maybe it's just the collections I'm pulling, but anyway. So here's where I start gluing things down. I've picked up my bottle of PPA. That's perfect paper adhesive, and I am going to be using my glue dots to kind of help position things on the layout. The glue dots are not really strong enough to hold the flowers well, but they do help me to get them on there, and it holds them down, especially these branches, while that PPA is actually drying. Again, that PPA takes a bit of time to dry, but once it's dry, it's what you've glued down with it is not going anywhere, I promise. So like I said, it is a great glue for mixed media art. So I am layering up some more of the leafy bits. This one is just a paper leaf, where the first 2 I put on have like a wire branch thing, kind of the same way with this long stemmed flower here. And again, I'm going to use the glue dots just to kind of help me get them down on there and get them to stay well enough while we're waiting for the actual PPA to dry. I've not put any PPA down yet, of course. Right now I'm just kind of getting things on here, and this is where I'm going to start using the PPA. I am going to put down this print and cut flower first. I had them in 3 corners, but I end up sticking both of those up there in that top left side, and because I felt like if I put some of the dimensional flower bits in there, that it would actually overwhelm my little shelf with the parade of animals. I am still kind of playing around with the glue dots just a bit. I'm not going to use glue dots on all of them, and in fact I think I end up giving up because I'm having trouble getting them off the back packaging. But I'm just going to start alternating these colors a little bit. Just trying to get the various colors on here. It has yellow and peach and a dusty blue and the mint green, and I'm kind of wanting to just alternate those back and forth. Now the original layout, of course, had a lot of ephemera layered up down here. So hers was a gorgeous layout, and honestly, I believe I have the collection that she used, and I considered pulling it out and using it, but I just decided I really wanted to play with this Winnie the Pooh collection. I thought it was an adorable themed collection for kitty cat pictures, and I loved the quote that I'm putting on here, as well as all of the other little bits and pieces. Now, one of the things that you probably know about these flowers is they're very, very thick. And yes, that can be a worry when you are a scrapbooker. You don't want your pages to be super thick, because if every page that you do is super thick, then you're going to have trouble fitting them into your page protectors. So I'm usually really, really careful about how often I use this style of flower. I adore them. They're gorgeous. They're really fun to use. They add so much texture and depth to your layouts and projects. but again, they're super thick, especially these. I have others that aren't as thick, but these are pretty thick. And one of the things I did before creating this layout was to make sure that my album that this one is going to go into isn't already over full. Having one or two layouts with a lot of thick embellishments on it like this isn't a big deal. If every page is, then you're not going to be able to fit very many layouts in your album. And so, yes, that is a worry of mine. It isn't something that I spend a whole lot of time worrying about, but I just wanted to kind of point that out because these are thick, and I know that for some creators that makes them a no-go. For me, I just think a layout here and there with them is not a big deal. Okay, I got this layout completely finished. I'm really happy with this beautiful cluster of flowers that include some of the flatter flowers from the collection, as well as the very beautiful flowers that I had purchased. I think I purchased these from Peachy Cheap. Now the glue is not quite dry, and I want to talk about this glue really quick. This is a glue that I use for mixed media canvases when I make mixed media canvases. And once this stuff dries, nothing's coming off. Like, I've had canvases that my packing companies have moved multiple times and they're still completely intact because this glue is just that strong. So if that is something that you work on yourself and you're looking for a glue that will hold, that's a good glue for you. I know that everybody likes Barely Art glue and Nouveau glue, and I think Art Glitter glue is the other one that's really popular. But PPA, or Perfect Paper Adhesive, which you can purchase on Amazon, is a really great glue, but you have to be patient because it's not tacky immediately. So that's why that flower that I just touched moved, because it's not tacky quite yet. So I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. There's a playlist below for this video. There's also a link to the original creator's Instagram account, as well as her design team account. And I would love for you to leave everybody some love on their channels. If you're not subscribers of my Scraplift Crafternoon tribe, I would love for you to just click that subscribe button, and that way you can watch some of their goodness. They do more hops than just this one, and you will be amazed at their creativity. Thank you again for being here, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.